Hello students, welcome to new video on basic interview questions on design of steel structures. Today in this video we will discuss about bolted connections. So what is bolted connection? A bolt is defined as a metal pin which has head at one end and shank at other end. That shank may be plain or threaded. Right? If it is threaded, then it is called as bolt. So a bolt is defined as a metal pin with head at one end and threaded shank at other end. If you look at these two images, this is called as head, top portion, this is called as head, and remaining portion is called as shank, this is shank. In shank, some portion of shank may be plain and some portion can be threaded. In some bolts, complete length of the shank is threaded. Both the types of bolts are available. So bolt is a metal pin with head at one end and shank at other end. Now there are basic terminologies in the bolted connections that you must know, you must understand if you are appearing for an interview of structural engineering, especially for the design of steel structures projects. In bolted connection, there are four important terminologies. Those are pitch, gauge, end distance and edge distance. Now what is pitch, gauge or these end and edge distances? If you look at the right figure, there are two metal plates are connected with the help of bolted connection. This is one plate which I am hatching, and this is second metal plate. So these are the two plates which are connected with the help of these 8 bolts which are in 2 rows. This is first row and second row, 4 bolts in one row. So these two plates are connected with 4 bolts, and to connect these two plates some cover plate is used here. This is cover plate, this is called as cover plate. So this is two plates connected with the help of 8 bolts. Now if you look at this top view, this is top view of this connection. If you look at this top view, very first terminology is pitch. That is horizontal distance between two consecutive bolts. Horizontal distance between center to center distance between two consecutive bolts is called as pitch. So this is pitch. Horizontal distance, center to center distance between two consecutive bolts, this is called as pitch, right? Then second is gauge. So it is vertical distance between two consecutive bolts. Vertical distance, center to center distance between two consecutive bolts is called as gauge. This is gauge, right? So gauge is in the perpendicular direction of force, and pitch is in the direction of force. Pitch is horizontal, force is also horizontal. So pitch is always along the force and gauge is always perpendicular to the force. So pitch is always measured in horizontal direction and gauge is always measured in vertical direction. Okay, this is gauge. Third point is end distance. End distance means distance between center of bolt and end of the plate. Center of the distance measured between center of bolt and end of the plate, but that distance is measured parallel to the force, means in horizontal direction. This is called as end distance, parallel to the force. The distance measured in line of action of force or parallel to the force from the center of bolt to the end of the plate. In simple words, you can remember end distance is distance, horizontal distance between center of bolt and end of the plate. That is called as end distance, right? Now which are the points representing end of the plate? There are 4 plates in this connection. If you carefully see, there are 4 plates. So first plate is this, from this point to this point. So this is one end of the plate which is marked here. Then this is one end of the plate. Then second plate is this, end of the plate is here, end of the plate is here. Then two cover plates are used. This is end of these plates and this is end of cover plate here, right portion. So these are all 6 points of end of the plate. So horizontal distance between end of the plate and center of bolt. So this is called as end distance. This is end distance. This is also end distance. This is also end distance. This one. This is all end distance. Horizontal distance between center of bolt and the end of the plate, which is parallel to the force. Now edge distance, the distance between end of the plate and the center of bolt, but measure perpendicular to the force. Perpendicular to the force means if force is horizontal, perpendicular means vertical distance. So vertical distance between center of bolt and the end of the plate, this is called as edge distance, right? This is edge distance. This is also 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 edge distance. Distance between center of bolt and the end of the plate. This is all edge distance, right? So these are the four important terminologies which you must remember in a bolted connection. What is pitch? What is gauge? What is end distance? What is edge distance? I repeat again. Pitch means horizontal distance between center to center distance between two consecutive bolts. This is called as pitch. Vertical distance between two bolts, center to center distance between two bolts is called as gauge. Distance between center of bolt and the end of the plate in a horizontal direction or parallel to the force is called as end distance. And the distance between center of bolt and the end of the plate perpendicular to the force, that is vertical direction, is called as edge distance. Which four questions? These are the sample 4 questions are written here which may ask during your interview or oral examination. What is pitch in bolted connection? What is gauge in bolted connection? What is end distance in bolted connection? What is edge distance in bolted connection? Now next is, during the bolted connection in steel structures, as per the IS 800-2007, which mentions some standard specifications about these 4 parameters. So what is the minimum pitch value as per the IS 800-2007? So minimum pitch must be equal to 2.5 times the phi, where phi is the nominal diameter of the bolt. Okay, phi is nominal diameter and d is equal to overall diameter of the bolt. So what is the relation between phi and d? If phi equal to 12 to 14 mm, then d equal to 5 plus 1. If phi equal to 16 to 24 mm, then d equal to 5 plus 2. And if phi is greater than 24 mm, then d equal to 5 plus 3. This is minimum value of pitch, that is 2.5 times phi. Now what is maximum value of pitch? The maximum value of pitch is different for tension member and different for compression member. For tension member it is taken as either 16T or 200 mm, whichever is smaller. And for compression member, maximum value of pitch is taken as 12T or 200 mm, whichever is smaller, where T is called as thickness of thinner plate. Thickness of the thinner plate means out of whatever plates you are connecting, whichever is thin, that thickness you have to consider here, thickness of thinner plate. Then what is the minimum value of edge distance or end distance as per the IS 800? So both are same, end and edge distance. Their minimum value is taken as 1.5D or 1.7D, where D is same overall diameter of the bolt, right? But why it is 1.5D or 1.7D different? So 1.5D is taken as when your bolting is done with the help of machine, right? It is 1.5D. And 1.7D if you are cutting is done with the hand, right? By manual with the human being. When cutting is done with the help of machine, you can take minimum value of end distance or edge distance as a 1.5D, and if cutting is done with the hand, then you can take the minimum value of these distances 1.7D. Then there are different types of bolted joints. There are mainly two joints are there. First joint is called as lap joint and second is called as butt joint. In lap joint, the two plates or two members are placed over one another to form a overlap. So if you look at this figure, if you want to connect this plate 1 and plate 2, some portion of these two plates are overlap. The plate is kept on the second one and this length is overlap. So that's why it is called as lap joint. In lap joint, the two members are placed over one another to form a overlap. And then bolting is done. This is bolting. Then bolting is done to connect these two plates. Okay. Now there are two options while bolting these two plates. If you look at these two figures, in first figure, all bolts are arranged in the one row. Right. This is called as single bolted lap joint. And here all bolts are connected in two rows, which is called as double bolted lap joint. This is overlapping length. This is called as overlapping length. Okay. This is single bolted lap joint and double bolted lap joint. Now this type of joint is not recommended in the steel structure connections. There are mainly because of two reasons. First reason is, in the joint, line of action of force is not same. For example, force on the upper plate is in this direction, so lower plate is towards left in this direction, but line of action, if you look at line of action of these two forces is different. Similarly here, the line of action of force is not same. So because of this, it is mainly subjected to shearing force and the bearing type of failures. Shearing failure and bearing failure, this lap joint. So that's why lap joint is not recommended in the design of steel structures for the bolted connections. Okay. So what type of question which may ask on this lap joint is, what is lap joint during your interview? So you can understand what is lap joint is. Lap joint means when you want to connect two plates together or three plates together, those are kept on each other or overlap on each other, and then bolted connection is done. Bolted connection can be provided in one row or two rows. If it is in one row, then it is called as single bolted connection, and if it is in two rows, then it is called as double bolted lap joint. Next joint is butt joint, right? Butt joint. So in this, now if you look at the lap joint, plates are overlap on each other, right, during the connection. But in butt joint, the two plates which you want to connect, those are connected end to end. Means this is first plate which you want to connect with, this is second plate. So they are kept end to end, they are connected. When the two members are to be connected by placing the members end to end. And now to connect these two plates, one additional plate is kept over these two, which is called as cover plate. This is called as cover plate. You can either provide single cover plate or double cover plate like this, top and bottom. So this one or two cover plates are provided, then bolting is done from the top to bottom. This is bolted connection, right? So this is bolted connection. Here two cover plates are provided, here single cover plate is provided. That's why this is called as single single bolted butt joint. This is called as double cover, double bolted butt joint, right? So in butt joint, two plates are connected and placed end to end. This is butt joint, right? And the top plate and bottom plate are called as cover plates. Okay, and if a single cover plate is provided, it is called as single bolted butt joint, and if two cover plates are provided, it is called as double cover, double bolted butt joint. In this joint, line of action of force is same. For example, force of this plate is going towards left and force of this plate is going towards right, but line of action of this force is same. Okay. This type of joint is also subjected to shearing and bearing type of failures, but butt joint is strongly recommended to use in the design of steel structures. Okay, question which may ask on this is, what is butt joint? These are the type of bolted connections or bolted joint, that is lap joint and butt joint. Now what are the types of failures in bolted joints? There are two types of failures. One is shearing failure and second is bearing failure. Now what is shearing failure is, in shearing failure bolts are get cut into two or more pieces. For example, if you consider this figure, one plate is overlapped to another and which is connected with the help of this bolt. Okay, sectional view is shown here if you look at this. Now because of this force and this horizontal force, if you pull this plate, bottom plate towards right and this top plate towards left, this top plate will move towards left and bottom plate will move towards right. So shearing is happen at the contact surface here. Here shearing force will develop, right? And because of this shearing force and because of movement of this top plate towards left, this portion of bolt will move towards left and this portion of bolt will move towards right, and therefore at the shearing plane this bolt will cut and divided into two pieces, right? If you look at this figure in line diagram, it is shown here. This is one bolt and this is a shearing plane, right? Now this top portion is moved towards left because of this force and this bottom is moved towards right because of this force, and now this single bolt is cut into two pieces. Now if you use the three plates to connect it like this, if you connect one more plate from the bottom side like this, if you connect one more plate here, okay, so there are two forces like this. Okay, one more plate I will add here, this is one more plate, right? Now three plates are connected with this bolt. These two plates force is towards left and this middle plate force is towards right. So middle plate is moving towards right and top and bottom plate, this plate is moving towards left. It means top portion of bolt and bottom portion of bolt will move towards left and middle portion of bolt will move towards right. So this bolt will cut into three pieces, top, middle and bottom. So top and bottom will move towards left and middle will move towards right. So when bolt is completely cut into number of pieces because of shearing force developed at the shearing plane. Okay, this case, first case is of single shear, and when you use three plates, it is a case of double shear. There are two shearing planes, right? If it is double shear, number of pieces are 3. If it is single shear, number of pieces are 2. This is called as shearing failure. And in bearing failure, bolt is not cut into number of pieces, but it changes its shape or cross-sectional shape from circular to elliptical. If you take an example, similar type of example, there are two plates which are overlap and connected with this bolt. Now if you apply this force towards left on top plate and right towards bottom plate, then if you pull this top plate and bottom plate with these forces, this bolt will move like this, warp like this. It will not break into two pieces, but it will change its shape like this. This is called as bearing, right? So it means bolt cross section has changed from circular to elliptical. If you provide one more plate, that is three plates like this, then this bottom portion of bolt remains straight, top portion remains straight, and in middle it will change its shape like this. This will be the bending or shape of the bolt after applying these forces towards left and right. So in this figure also, if you look at, bolt is not cut into number of pieces, but it changes its shape from circular to elliptical. So this is called as bearing type of failure. When bolt is not breaking into pieces, and only warping, that is bearing. And if it is cut into number of pieces because of shear force, then it is called as shearing failure. So the question which may ask on this is, what are shearing and bearing failures? So these are few important basic points related to the bolted connection. That is, what is bolt, then what are the pitch, gauge, end distance and edge distance, then what are the minimum specifications as per IS 800 for pitch value, minimum, maximum and end distance or edge distance. Then what are the types of joints is used in bolted connection, that is lap joint and butt joint. Then what are the types of failures in bolted connection, that is shearing failure and bearing failure. I hope all of you understand this. In the next lecture we will see the basic concepts of welded connection. Thank you very much.